those of us who are He-Man fans, who are also fans of the Filmation cartoon, know that the whole show really, at its very, very core, is a show about family. And especially the extended family that Prince Adam has, who all know that he is in fact He-Man. So of course you've got Man at Arms, you've got the Sorceress, you've got Orko, and of course you have Adam's fearless friend, Cringer, and that is who we'll be having a look at today. Cringer is one of the best characters in the whole He-Man ethos, because he's a character who does what he doesn't want to do, and I think that is the definition of bravery. He's always portrayed Cringer as this scaredy cat, and he, you know, indeed he is. He's a scaredy cat who just wants to eat and sleep and, you know, be a cat at the end of the day. But he's also one of the bravest characters in the whole series, because he doesn't want to be Battle Cat. He hates being Battle Cat. There's very rare the occasion that he will say, okay, we need Battle Cat and I would rather be Battle Cat. Happens in a couple of episodes. But generally, he'd rather just not have anything to do with He-Man, really. He doesn't mind just going along as himself, if he could possibly get away with it. There are, like I say, a few occasions he says, to be fair, we need Battle Cat here. And, you know, he will quite happily become Battle Cat. But on the whole, in general, he would rather not become the big, massive fighting tiger that is his alter ego. Cringer himself was found as a kitten by Prince Adam. It relays the story in the episode Battle Cat in season 2, I believe. And he was attacked by a vicious saber cat and was rescued by Adam and tended to by Man at Arms until such time as Adam could look after him on his own. After that time, he became Adam's faithful and loyal pet. Just, again, eating, sleeping, doing what a cat does. And then, of course, one day he gets hit by the magic from the magic sword and gets turned into the massive Battle Cat. Cringer, like I say, very, very brave at the end of the day, because he doesn't want to become Battle Cat. Who would? Apart from everyone but Cringer, obviously. But yeah, he's a great character, voiced by Alan Oppenheimer, absolutely brilliantly. He's constantly in the series. There's only a few episodes he's not in. And, you know, when you're referenced in the opening title sequence, it's quite obvious that you are a main character. And Cringer certainly was that. And it was great when Mattel actually made him as an add-on character, as an add-on figure. He came with Queen Marlena in her Captain Glenn guise, which is a great figure. I do have it, and I will be having a look at that very, very soon for you guys. It is a great figure, and like I say, much as the Prince Adam Orko, where Prince Adam was the add-on figure, Cringer is the other add-on figure, and here he is. He's great. I mean, I've got him for a fraction of the price he really should be. I do have Battle Cat as well. We'll be having a look at him in a second. But yeah, Cringer, to be fair, there's not much to him, really. He only has 2 points of articulation. He's got a head that moves ever so slightly. Not very much. And he's got a tail that moves ever so slightly as well, but doesn't really need to. Other than that, all his legs are completely stationary. He's just a statuette, really, or a statue, even, possibly, you could call him. But he's very, very well detailed. He's got some great fur effect, especially on his face and all over his body. He is green and yellow striped. He's someone you never had a figure of. When we were kids, obviously, we would have the Battle Cat figure, which again was a static lump of plastic. And it's actually more articulation than the 80s figure. And to become Cringer, you basically took his armour off, and that was it. Yet there you had Cringer, and I'll demonstrate that on the Battle Cat figure later on. But yeah, so it's really nice to have this guy. It's really nice to have him. He's not big. He's very small. Just to give you an idea of how big he actually ain't, here's He-Man. So he's completely in scale with what he should be. You know, really, he's still a big cat when you compare him in scale to He-Man, but he's not massive. He's not huge. But I love the figure. I really can't get over it. I love the fact that he looks so Filmation. He's got the big yellow eyes. He's got the snaggletooth. He's great. I can't fault this figure at all. I really like it. Would have been nice to have him a bit more articulated, but what are you going to do? On the plus side, he does have the pads that Panther had earlier on, that I showed you in the former video. And he's looking pretty cool. Now, obviously, when He-Man hit him with the magic from the magic sword, he became the mighty Battle Cat, and that's, I suppose, we should have a look at next. Just very, very briefly though, Battle Cat was a bit of a weird one, because some writers in Masters of the Universe liked him to speak, and some didn't, even within the confines of the Filmation cartoon. So some episodes he will speak until the cows come home, and then other times he won't say a word the whole episode. Very, very strange. The 2000X series got around that by making neither Cringer or Battle Cat speak, which I wasn't a fan of. I like Battle Cat to speak sometimes. Apart from, I have the power too in the title sequence, which I will link to the James E. Talk video, where he actually goes in detail about that. Yeah, not good, and I'm glad that never came off. But regardless, yeah, he never really spoke too much in some episodes, and then there's other episodes he was completely loquacious. I guess it came down to writer priority. Some writers would have said, I don't want a giant green and yellow cat that talks too much. He's supposed to be a steed of war, a battle steed, and not a friend as such. But I always saw Battle Cat as a friend of He-Man, much like Swiftwind with She-Ra. I always liked the steed to talk because it's another voice, it's another confidant is the word I'm looking for. You know, they are sort of the knowing steed of the hero, so they should be able to talk. I think it depends on the situation whether, you know, talking would be the right thing to do for the character. But you could say that about any character, not just the giant cat. I won't lie, I used to have a cat when I was little, and I kind of wish that she was Cringer and that she could have turned into a massive battle cat. I mean, how cool is that? Just to think, you know, oh well, you could ride a horse, or you could have a Pegasus, which they did with She-Ra, and that worked for She-Ra. I don't think it would have worked with He-Man. It would have been a bit too Clash of the Titans. You know, or you could have a horse like Stridor, like I say, or a dragon maybe, or a giant armoured cat. Doesn't happen very often. I think it happened in a Conan comic. I think one of the Conan characters might have had that. And of course, King Grayskull, when they finally got around to King Grayskull, he had a giant lion that was like 3 times the size of Battle Cat. But I always liked Battle Cat. I always liked the toy. I know it was a static action figure and it did nothing. But I always liked the idea, and the colours. I just like the colours green and yellow. It's strange and alien and cool and weird. But I'm stalling, and I don't know why, because I really want to have a good look at this action figure, because he's cool. And here he is in his mailer box. I got this. I purchased this off the all-knowing, all-seeing Private Spoon, who very, very kindly said, "Oh, I'm selling off a few of my figures again. I already bought his Panther off him. Selling off a few figures again. Do you want Battle Cat and He-Man?" And I did not have He-Man and Battle Cat, so I bit his hand off, especially considering the price I paid, which I'm not going to say, but pennies of what they were supposed to be, that's for sure. Anyway, here we go. Here we have him in his box, if you can see that. Oh, it's so cool. It's so cool, and the obvious, the Grayskull stuff. It says, the original. It's not the original, I suppose. This might have been when they did a second run of the figures, which I'm sure they did. But it's a Battle Cat fighting tiger figure on the back. So all kinds of loveliness. All the figures you can buy. I do want a Zodak at some point. It's actually scary to think that I've got at least 1, 2, 3, 4 of these figures. And we'll be getting more as the weeks go on, no doubt. But very, very cool. It says on the back, Battle Cat, real name Cringer. His real name is Cringer. A member of the Green Tiger tribe, Cringer was saved from a Parekh-Nar attack by young Prince Adam, and afterwards became his devoted companion for life. He assisted Adam during his quest to unite both halves of the Power Sword, and afterwards was enhanced by its power to become Battle Cat, the fighting tiger of He-Man. Cringer is one of only a handful of allies who knows Adam's secret and fights alongside the other Masters of the Universe, carrying He-Man into battle against the forces of evil. Let's have a look at Battle Cat. Sorry if my voice keeps going in and out. I currently have a lung infection, so yeah, we'll see. So yeah, he comes in nice packet there. Got to get him out. He's quite tight in there. There we go. Eventually comes out, and there you have Battle Cat. Now, he is ostensibly the same body, at least, as Panther, who we've already seen. But there are differences, and we will have a look at them as we go on. Whoops, there's one of them. His helmet. Looks a lot like the old figure that we used to have as kids, but with one major difference. He is highly articulated as Panther. Now, the difference is, with Panther was flopped when we were kids, Battle Cat never was. He was always shiny plastic, which, you know, I always thought they missed a trick with that, but there you go. Ostensibly, though, he's exactly the same buck. He's exactly the same figure. Apart from the armour is completely different. Obviously, it is the sort of reddy brown colours, terracotta colours of the original figure. And really, this bit is the same as the bit that you get with Panther. However, the helmet is different. Well, obviously, Panther did come with a helmet. So the helmet is different. And interestingly, the head is completely different. This is a different head than Panther was. Panther has his ears swept back a bit more. Battle Cat doesn't. It's a completely different head and a completely different look on his face. Completely different expression. That's the word I was looking for, on his face. It's not benign by any stretch of the imagination, but it's certainly not as aggressive as the Panther. Because of course Panther is a bad guy, and Battle Cat isn't. So it's a bit more benign, a bit more angry rather than evil. Because of course he's ferocious and not nasty, unless you're obviously an evil master of the universe. Also, the teeth aren't stained pink, and the mouth isn't stained as pink as Panther, although he does have a great mouth. If you look inside there, that's rather scary. You would not want to face this guy down a dark alley at all. But he has got the same articulation. The head can go round. Oh, that's terrifying. I don't like that at all. So he does have that. I will take the armour off, just very briefly, so you can see him basically how we saw him as kids. Look kids, look. It's Cringer. Cringer and Battle Cat. Battle Cat with his armour on, that's Cringer. And was when we were kids, that's not right. When we were kids, that's what Cringer looked like. As opposed to now, when, size comparison, look at that. Look at that, that's not right. If ever you needed to see a size comparison of Battle Cat and Cringer, well, there you go. That's what they should be in scale with the toys, and you know, that's fine. And in scale with He-Man, he's about right. You know, if you actually look, that's about right. That's about what he should be, I suppose. So I put his armour back on. But yeah, when we were kids, that's how you did Cringer. You took his armour off and hey-ho, Cringer. But not now, I'm glad to say. I'm glad to say now that's all changed and we actually have proper Battle Cat and proper Cringer. Battle Cat's helmet is a separate piece like it always was, but it doesn't fit into the back of the armour as it did on the 80s toy. Which is good, because that never worked for me. I never liked that. Because basically it just meant that his head was too close to his body and he didn't have this neck piece. And had no articulation in his neck. I mean, I know he was a section, but even so, that kept coming off all the time and never fit. Anyway, the armour, the helmet rather, fits over the head like so. If you take it off, that's 2000X Battle Cat. And there we go, 80s Battle Cat. But it fits snugly over. Doesn't fall off. Even when you turn him over, it fits snugly on. And it doesn't really catch on anything either. It's just sort of held in place by friction. Which is good, because it means it won't rub anything off if it's too tight and too snug. Fully articulated in the legs. Again, all the legs move around. The ankles move up and down and can turn side to side. His dew claws, which I think is pretty cool, as Panther did. His tail goes up and down. He's articulated at the waist. Whoops! Articulated at the waist. 2 seconds. Getting too old for this shit. Articulated at the waist, so he does move around. And of course he has the cat pads that Panther had as well. All in all, he's a great figure. He's absolutely brilliant. You know, just as Panther was, I can't recommend this guy highly enough. It just looks the part. You know, it's Battle Cat. I haven't had a Battle Cat in my hands of any description for a good number of years. We're talking at least 20 years. When I got rid of all my He-Man stuff as a kid, forcibly, obviously. So it's amazing to have this figure again. This cat again. It's just marvelous. It's a marvelous feeling. It's like all my childhood has just come racing back and slapped me in the face and said, "Oi, Glenn, you need this in your life. You need to have this and keep this." What does he look like with He-Man on? Well, in a word, awesome. But let's show you that. Here is He-Man, who I also got off Mr. Private Spoon, and who I shall be reviewing at a later date. And all you do, obviously, same as Skeletor, you place him in there. And for an old school Masters of the Universe fan like me, this is the pose I would have had He-Man and Battle Cat in as the original toys years and years ago, with the battle axe and the shield, because that's pretty much the old artwork would show that far more often than he had the power sword, which is a filmation thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with the filmation thing, and I'm very, very happy to pose him in, you know, that style as well. But to show him like that and to have him on my shelf like that is just, that's a blast to the past. That he really is back to the 80s. So it's marvellous to have these two again, and to have them with Skeletor. I will have a picture of that right at the end of this video, just to show you Panther and Skeletor and He-Man and Battle Cat, and really that's can sum up my childhood in quite a few ways, I can tell you. If you want Battle Cat on the secondary market, he's going to cost you. The cheapest I found him in the UK was £59. That was free postage. The cheapest in America was $27. However, there was another $40 for postage. So he ended up being roughly about the same as he would have been before anyway. I didn't get him for that. I got him for far less than that. So if you know someone who's getting rid of these things, or you know someone who can get them from Mattel for you, please, you know, lean on them. Try and get them, because words can't describe how worth it is to have these guys on my shelf. And Cringer as well, you know, which is a toy I never thought I would ever own. I didn't think that it was going to be something I could ever actually have as a Cringer, and I would have to just take his armour off and pretend again. Seriously, get them and get He-Man. The amount of nerdy excitement I had when I took He-Man out of his package, it was like, yeah, I'm very, very happy to have these toys, and you will be too, so you need to get them. Like I say, also watch James E. Talk's video on Battle Cats. I Have the Power, not happening. And of course subscribe to that channel as well, James E. Talk's channel, the Human.org channel. Yeah, do all that. As you can tell, I'm very happy. I've been ill, but I'm happy to have these guys. It was a highlight of the week to get them, so thank you Private Spoon as well. Next week I shall be reviewing another toy that Private Spoon gave me from the G.I. Joe line. So please join me next week. Subscribe to the channel. Listen to Back to the 80s podcast. We are doing Jerry Anderson month at the moment. We took a week off for Valentine's, but we'll be back next week. So enjoy yourselves. Have a good week. Be careful in this bloody windy weather, especially if you're in the UK. If you're in Somerset or anywhere like that, please be safe, be careful. Although you probably won't be watching this video because you've got no internet or power. But please do. And also, I'll put a link to the bottom. We lost a good friend to the Transformers and general nerddom this week. JD Church sadly passed away. I will put a link down to the bottom for Friends of JD Church if you want to sponsor or donate to the charity that they're trying to save a bit of money in his honour. So please do that. Yeah, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I shall see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye for now. Picture!